let me introduce you. Okay, again, we have our last speaker of the day, and we keep it for the best, one of the best speakers we have. Dhruvin has an experience of around 15 years in work for different clients. He's also a well-known C# corner MVP. He's written around 100 plus article and blogs on Power BI, Power Apps, Power Automate, and SharePoint. And I will still I really highly recommend to visit his YouTube channel. He has around 6,000 subscribers, and what his videos are really good. I actually have subscribed because I've learned a lot of things from him, and whether it's Power Apps, his latest course is about Power Virtual Agents with a QNN Maker. So I really highly recommend to subscribe to his channel. And Dhruvin, the floor is all yours. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much, Arrow. All right. So first of all, I welcome you all for attending this session. So in today's session, we are going to talk about how we can explore Power BI in Microsoft Teams, and we will be talking about some of the newly rolled out feature in Power BI, which is smart narrative visualization and anomaly detection. So that is the overall thing that we are going to discuss about in next 45 minutes. So before we get started, let me give you a little bit introduction about me. I think Aro mentioned about me everything in his conversation, but let me just talk a little bit that I am working as Power Platform Specialist and Office 365 lead in one of the company at Gujarat, India. I am an active blogger and YouTuber, having published around 120 plus articles and 450 plus tech videos on my YouTube channel. And here is the link. This is the short link, that is linktree/dhruvin.shah. So once you click on that, you will be redirected to one of the page. From there, you will be finding all of my links, my YouTube, LinkedIn, blogs, information, Twitter, Facebook, and GitHub. So you can follow me on all social media handles using this particular single link over here. Apart from that, if you have any question, you can directly reach me out on my email address, LinkedIn, or Twitter, Facebook account. So before we get started, as we have seen the title of my session, which is Microsoft Power BI in Microsoft Teams. So basically, in throughout the session, we will be going to discuss three major things. First one is that we are going to explore the Power BI in Teams. So as we all know that in modern collaboration, most of the things now people are trying to access from the Teams. So we'll be talking about the Power BI in Teams capability first. Then we will be going to talk about the smart narrative visualization in detail. And at last, we will be talking about the anomaly detection in Power BI. So now let me get started with the first part of this session, which is exploring Power BI in Teams. So now let me just directly talk about the first half of the agenda, that is exploring Power BI in Teams. So first of all, what we are going to do is we are going to add our Power BI application in Microsoft Teams first, and then we will be talking about some of the capabilities like searching the reports in Teams, or let's say if we want to share any reports or any specific visualization in the Teams channel or chat, how can we do that? And at last, we are going to add Power BI reports as a tab into Microsoft Teams, and we will be talking about the licensing as well as how we can simply pin the Power BI app inside the Teams. So now let me move directly to the practical part of this session. So here I have opened my Teams account on my screen. Now, as you can see that at this moment I have opened Power BI in Teams. This is one of the team and it is the general channel of that particular team. Now, the very first step is that we need to add this Power BI application inside our Teams. So this announcement is something that has been happened in Ignite 2020, and after that that feature is available. Now in order to add Power BI to our Microsoft Teams, first of all we need to go to the left navigation over here, and we just need to click on ellipsis icon over here, and we just simply need to search for Power BI. So basically this will
sorry, Dhruvin, sorry. Are you sharing the screen? I can't see the screen, please.
yeah, I am sharing the screen. Let me reshare.
Reshare.
Or
I mean, I don't know whether other people. Can you reshare it again? Yes, we can see
yes,
it now. Thank you. Sorry about that trouble.
no worries. Thanks for that. All right, so let me just show the step. Maybe we are not able to see my screen. So basically here we have the Teams left navigation. And first of all, we are going to add our Power BI application from the left navigation of the Teams. So basically we are clicking on the ellipsis here and we will be searching for Power BI. So that will open this pop-up for us. And now we just simply need to click on add. So basically it is the first step in order to get started with Power BI in Teams. So basically we need to add our Power BI application within the Teams. Now this application has been added here, and now let me just pin that application so we will not lose it from the left navigation and we will be always have that handy. So I'm just pin the app by pressing pin. So it has placed properly here. Now let me talk about the overall team integration within the teams. So how the experience is going to look like. So basically here I have opened the Power BI service account. So basically in Power BI service we have this type of UI available where we have home screen and this type of left navigation, and from here we can access our different workspaces and all. So similar experience we do have in the teams when we are integrating our Power BI in our Teams application. So here we have the similar home, similar left navigation experience. From here we can check for our different workspaces, reports, dashboard, dataset, everything. Now let's say for an example, here I want to search few things about my report or my workspace. Then how can I search that? Because it's the global navigation search for Microsoft Teams. So do I need to lose the Teams context? So the answer is no. Actually, we can search everything within this particular search bar. Now let me show you how we can search within the Microsoft Teams for any Power BI reports or any Power BI dashboards. So basically in order to search, first of all we need to write @Power BI. So this is the first keyword that we need to type here, @Power BI. So once here in suggestion it is provided. Now let's say if you are login or sign in for the first time, basically at that time we need to provide our credential. We need to provide our Microsoft 365 account. Now once we click that, it will be search here option available. Now here you can search for any report that you wanted to search. So let's say I just wanted to search for attendance report. So I'm just typing attendance, and based on that it will provide me different suggestions here. So let's say here I have one of the report that I prepared. So basically that report is being searched here. Now let's say I just wanted to open that report. So I'm just clicking on open over here, and that will open the Power BI report in the same Teams context over here. Also, before I click here, let me talk about some other options as well. So here we have open option, subscribe option. Subscription is something like if you want to configure the subscription for our Power BI report. And here is the copy link option. So that will copy the similar type of card. And if we want to send anyone to a personal chat, or let's say in the Teams channel, we can easily send that. Now I'm just simply clicking on open. So you can see that that particular report is going to be opened into my Teams environment itself. Basically it didn't redirect me to any other tab or anything else. So everything is available within the Teams. So this is one of the cool feature. Now here we also talked about this subscribe option. So once we click on subscribe, so basically this will open the same thing by opening the subscription option. So basically on the left hand side, on the right hand side, it will open the subscribe option for us. So let's see how that will going to be look like. So let it to be loaded, and let's see. All right, so here you can see that this pane is going to be open, and here we just need to provide our subscription, and we just need to save and close. That's all. So this is really easy and very handy option. Now let's say
Dhruvin, sorry Dhruvin, this ad subscription is a part of your own tenant, or we have to buy another subscription for this Power BI? Is it a bit different? Is it?
No, Arrow. So actually it is something which is available as a the regular Power BI license that we have the we can use the same licensing in order to use this Power BI within the Teams. And this subscription is something which is a report subscription. Like, let's say for an example, I just wanted to send this report daily in the email, like one screenshot for this particular report. So this is the same email, subscribe to email functionality that we do have in the Power BI service. So with the Pro license as well, this will work. No additional licensing is required over here.
So which means we can use the same subscription irrespective whether it's Power BI desktop free edition or Pro edition. Is it work for both scenarios? Is it?
Yeah, yes, Arrow. It will work for both scenario.
Yeah, thank you.
Yep. All right. So that is the second thing. Now, let's say when we search this particular report, let's say attendance report, let's say we have copy option here. Now, let's say I just wanted to copy this link, and now I'm just going to my Teams, or let's say I'm just going to a personal chat, and let's say one of the user from my tenant is Tejal, and I want to share this report with her. So I'm just pasting that copied link, and you can see that this type of card is already been appear. So this is how I can just write few information that review this report and just click send. So this is how we can easily send the report across the Teams individual chat, or let's say if you want to share the similar thing into Teams channel, we can do the same thing. And when the user came here and just click open, the report will be open inside the Teams itself. So this is the search thing in Microsoft Teams. Now let me talk about some more interesting feature here. So I'm again going to my Power BI home screen, and now let's open any of the reports. So yes, this report is being opened here. Now here we have two options. One is chat in Teams on the top side, we can see. So basically this is the feature which is generally used. It is similar like a sharing behavior. So let's say for an example, if I'm, let me just close that out. Sorry. Let me just go home again, and let me just open any report. And let me just open any normal report from here. So let's say I'm just opening one of this report over here. So it's a normal report that is under development. Now let's say I'm just clicking on chat in Teams. Then what happen here is this will open one pop-up for us. So basically it is similar like a sharing behavior, but when we have copied that card from the search box, we have that type of card layout available. But in this case, what happened here is, let me just click again. Sometimes there are multiple accounts associated, that's why it shown me that error. But basically in this pop-up, it will open this type of interface to us, that where we want to share this particular thing. So basically we just need to provide the Teams channel name. So let's say here I'm just searching for Power BI in Teams, and we just need to click on share. So basically this will simply share that particular link for the report, and once we click on that, basically what happen here is it will put a message into Teams channel. So basically this is the team that we have selected, and as you can see that this is the link for the report that has been shared. Now let's say for an example, let me talk about some other report that I already have. So let me open up any report from my Teams channel, and now I'm showing you that, let's say if we want to comment anything about any specific visualization, then how can we do that? So let me to be open here, and then we will do. So we have discussed about chat in Teams option. Now let's say I just wanted to have some improvement for this particular specific visualization, and let's say I'm just clicking here on ellipsis. So here as well we have an option that chat in Teams. So from this entire report, only I want to discuss about this specific visualization, then I just need to click on chat in Teams, and this will open the similar pop-up for us. And let's say Here we just need to provide the team name or channel name, and let me provide the same team name, that is Power BI in Teams, and the channel name is general, and let me share that thing. So what happened here is once we share this specific visualization, and let's say that message has been prompted into Teams like this, and when we click on that, what happened here is only that specific visualization will be highlighted over there, so that end user can easily understand that how that thing is going to be look like, or what is the main agenda for sharing that particular thing. So here you can see that all the other visualization are in the gray at this moment, and only the highlighted visualization is the bar chart that we have highlighted. So the screen has been displayed, and here is the thing. So this is the overall search experience, as well as sharing the report behavior into chat and Teams. Now let me talk about one more thing here. So let me just go again to my Power BI home here. So let me just click on home page. And now let's go to any of the team over here, and let me discuss about the tabs behavior in Teams. So let's say here is my team, and this is the general channel of my team. Now I just wanted to open any report as a tab. I just wanted to add report as a tab. So how can I do that? So here we have the plus icon available, and here we have the Power BI tab option to be added. So we just need to select Power BI from here, and basically this will show all the workspaces or apps that you have an access of. So let's say for an example, I have this many of workspaces access, and let's say from this particular workspace, I just wanted to have this tab to be tabbed. So I'm just selecting that particular report here and just clicking on save. So what happened here is this particular report is going to be added as a tab to my Teams. Now we have some question about permissions. So let's say for an example, if we consider this particular report, that is PBI Hotel DB02. Now let's say for an example, let me show you the members of this particular team first, so we can understand the better. So I'm just clicking on manage teams, and at this moment in this particular team I only have two users, Dhruvin and Tejal. Now let's say for an example, the report that we have tabbed over there, let's say Tejal do not have the access of that report on actual workspace. So let's say this is my actual Power BI service, and here this is the adults mobile view report workspace, and we will go to workspace setting, and we are just going clicking on advanced, or maybe let me just do one thing. Let me just clicking on workspace access, and let's say at this moment on this workspace only Dhruvin has an access. Now other user don't have the access of this workspace, so of course they are not able to open this particular report. So basically the main condition here is that, like, let's say if you have shared the report in the Teams, that means that you also need to add that user to the workspace access. Otherwise that user will not be able to see this particular report over here. And one important thing as well, we also need the Power BI Pro license in order to see this particular report within the Teams. If the user hasn't assigned with the Pro license, they will not be able to see. Also, if they do not have an access to that specific workspace, they will not be able to see this particular report over here. So basically it will ask for to sign in for them. So this is the one important thing that we need to consider while we are sharing. So this is the overall Teams experience for Power BI. So these are the some cool features, and now as we know that with modern collaboration, most of the things are integrated in the Teams. Let's say Power Apps, Power Automate, Power Virtual Agent, everything is going to be integrated within the Teams. So Team is going to become a central workplace from where we can access the different office apps. So Power BI is also the one of them, and this is how we can these are the major highlighted feature that I have discussed. Otherwise rest of the thing you can use same as it is. So this is the first portion of the session that we have discussed. Now let me talk about let me just reshare my PowerPoint slide, and let's get started with the second portion, which is smart narrative visualization in Power BI. So let me talk about some theoretical portion, and then we'll go with a step-by-step demo for smart narrative visualization. So the first thing arise in your mind that what is smart narrative and how it is useful to our business. So basically, smart narrative visualization is something which helps us to quickly summarize visual and reports by providing the relevant out-of-the-box insights that are customizable. Now let's consider an example that you have developed one of the report, and now you are going to represent the same report to your client. So what we are basically doing is we are taking some screenshot from our report and just prepare one PPT and just display the things that we want to represent. Like let's say what is the highest sales data, like from this particular graph, which one has the highest sales amount, which one has the lowest sale, and monthly sale if you want to represent. So this is something that we are building with the help of PowerPoint presentation and all, but with the help of smart narrative this work become very easy. So now we have the dynamic and always fresh insights for our data to be available. So I'm going to explain more thing when I'm going to represent my Power BI slide. So we will be getting better idea that what is the actual use of it. So here for specifically for smart narrative, I'm going to represent two demos. One is something, let me quickly show you that what we are going to build here. So let's say for an example, this is one of the sample Power BI file for COVID-19. So it is representing the active, confirmed and death by different state of India. And now let's say I want to represent this report to the end client, but for that I just wanted to make some narration that which particular state has highest confirmed cases, or which one has highest death, in which state we have, and which state has the lowest cases, or which one has the extreme cases. And let's say I want to represent the case summary, like in April, May, June, July, how many cases has been confirmed throughout the state. So let's say if we are going with any PowerPoint presentation approach, then what we need to do here is like let's say for an example, I'm just taking some screenshot by filtering and dicing the data, and then we'll paste that on one of the PPT slide and represent to the end person. But now here everything is dynamic. Like let's say for an example, here simply I'm selecting any specific states from here, it will automatically filter my data based on those conditions. So this is the one thing that we are going to build in this demo. And second thing is that we are going to use this particular smart narrative visualization as a tooltip. So most of the time what happen here is our client is always suggesting us to make the customizable tooltip. So they need some better UI and some better information to be shown to the end user. So we can use the smart narrative visualization in order to build this type of beautiful tooltip for our reports. So these are the two main use cases that I'm going to represent here. So let's get started with smart narrative visualization. What are the steps in order to prepare this thing, and we'll check each detailing in detail over here. So basically I just duplicated this page at this moment, and at this moment I do not add any smart narrative visualization over here, so we are going to build it from scratch here. But before that, make sure that your Power BI desktop has the latest version of November 2020, as well as you should enable preview features. So just go to file, go to the options and settings and click on options. From here we will be finding preview features available, so we just need to enable, just go to the preview features over here, and from here we just need to enable the smart narrative visualization. over here, as well as the anomaly detection. That is the next part of the session. So we just need to enable both the feature from here. Now the very first step is that let's add that visualization over here. So once you enable the preview feature and restart the Power BI desktop, we will be having available this visualization on the right hand side and under visualization section. So this is the smart narrative visualization. So let's add that visualization on our page. So I just added that visualization, and as you can see that it has automatically detected some of the narration based on my data. So basically at this moment I have a very smaller data set at this moment, so it just only detected this one narration for me. But for actual production or actual real data, it detects some of the great insight that we want to represent to the end users. So let me just give you a little bit idea about the data source that I have used. So basically I just used two different tables here. One represents the state-wise data, meaning for each individual state how many confirmed, recovered and death cases are there, and second one is that the detailed information about the each cases. So basically it will show the daily data over here by each state, for each individual date how many cases has been tracked. So we are kept having two different tables over here. Now we want to create the similar representation over here, that which are the highest cases, death cases, lowest and extreme cases. So now let me talk about that, how we can create that thing. So let me just remove this portion from here first, and we are going to prepare each custom thing over here. So now let me just first provide a label that highest confirmed cases. So I'm just writing here like this. Now how can I find the highest confirmed cases? So for that we just need to click on value section from here, and now from here we just simply need to ask the question. So it also supports the natural language. So this is similar type of Q&A visualization that we are already using in Power BI. So let me just ask a question, that which state. So basically state information is coming from this state wise table. So this is the table name. So which state wise data state has highest confirmed cases. Confirmed is something that we need to take into state wise data, and then which are the confirmed cases. So we just need to find confirmed. Let me just correct this spelling. Confirmed. All right, it has populate automatically here, and now it is showing me the result as well, that is Maharashtra. And now we can just name our question over here properly, like highest confirmed cases. And now I'm just clicking on save. So this will provide me this information over here. Now similar way, let's say I just wanted to represent highest death in the state. So I'm just adding this label, and now let's add one question here. So let me just ask one of the natural language question, that which state wise data has highest death. So let's add a question like this, which state wise data state has highest death. And now let's, here as well the result is Maharashtra, because as per the graph as well here the highest death rate is there. And now let's just click on save. Now similar way, let's search for the lowest cases, and from here let's just search for which state wise data state has lowest confirmed cases. So here we have an answer, Lakshadweep, and let's add that. Now let's say for an example, in Q&A maker, sometime what happen here is we have a facility to define some terms which are not a part of our actual data. So let's say here I want to find out the extreme cases, right? So how can I define the extreme cases? If the cases are greater than or equal to 1,50,000, then we need to consider them as a extreme cases. So now I just wanted to search anything like extreme cases by state. I'm searching a term like that. Then what happen here is it will not find out that information because this particular model don't know that what are the extreme case. So now let me search anything here over here, and it will show the red line. So actually you in actual scenario you need to search for extreme case and you will be finding red line, but at this moment I already defined that term, so I'm just showing you the procedure that how to do that. So once if you search extreme case and if appears red line, you just need to click on that red line, and now here there is an option to define that particular term. So let's open that thing. So it will open this Q&A setup for us where we need to teach our Q&A. So basically here is the term that we have searched, and here we need to define the term that if this is the extreme case, then what do we mean by that? If the cases are greater than or equal to 1,50,000, then we need to consider that. So I already defined that. Let me show you that once you define that, that will appear in the manage term section. And I just have this condition: state-wise data is extreme case if confirm case is greater than or equal to 1.5 x. So this is how you can define your term as well. So this is the same thing like Q&A that we are building for our regular Q&A visualization. Nothing advanced in that. So we just need to do that. Right now here we already have that thing, so let's just add that defined term. So extreme case. All right, and here we have an answer for the same. Now these are the things that we did. Now I just wanted to show some analytics, like in April how many cases are there, in May how many cases are there. So that is how we can also use the similar type of questionnaires, that total confirmed case in April. So I'm just using the term that total state confirmed in April. So I just remove this, and here are the numbers that in April this many of numbers has been defined. So this is how you can similarly do for May, June and July month. So I'm not going to repeat that procedure. Now at the last part is that we just need to format this particular smart narrative visualization. So here is the toolbar that is being provided. From here we can just customize like this. So basically I just provided some background color and just increase the font size and all, and that is how it is going to be look like. So this is the basic procedure for creating this smart narrative visualization in Power BI. Now this also support cross filtering as well. As I've shown you at the very beginning, we just need to press Control and let's select multiple data points. So let me just select out. So let's say we have selected this many of points, and from here it has filtered my data based on the selected fields from the bar, and all the cases summary is also been filtered based on that. So this is how we can simply prepare the smart narrative visualization. Now as I asked in the very beginning, that let's say if I wanted to have this smart narrative as a tooltip, then how can we do that? So let me show you that thing as well. So this is the same procedure, only thing is that the use case is different. That if you want, now we have a very good option to customize our tooltip like this. Like if you want to represent any text data, then this is the very good approach that we can take. So basically in order to do that, what we need to do is we just need to create a new page, and let's just set its type as a tooltip. So just go to the page size over here, and from here we just need to select tooltip page, and now here you just need to add your smart narrative visualization. So let me just show you, and this will automatically draw some insights based on the data that you have. Now let me just talk about the thing that I'm trying to show here. So basically this is one of the organizational training data. So let's say for an example, there are different groups in an organization, and each different group has some training that are to be conducted. and for that training, that is something that total number of users are there, that and from the total users, how many of them are completed their training and what is their completion rate. So this is the overall thing that we are representing here. Now similar thing that we have prepared here, like that we have discussed already in the first demo, that I just took different labels here and just created different question that I just wanted to display group name. So just use the group name column from here and it will provide that information. And similar way, other different insights are also there, that number of participants who has completed the training and what's the completion rate. And after that, what we need to do is we just wanted to set that particular visualization on this particular chat. So we just need to go to the settings, and after that we just need to go to the tooltip section and just need to select report page tooltip, and we just need to select the page name that we just created, and that is how that tooltip will be available for us. And the smart narrative as a tooltip is also good option to redesign or redefine your tooltip for your Power BI report. So this is all about the smart narrative visualization in Power BI. So this is the second concept of the session that we discussed here. And now let me move to the last topic of this particular session, which is the anomaly detection in Power BI. So let me share my slide and let's get started, that what do we mean by anomaly detection and how it is useful to our business data. So let me just share my PowerPoint presentation and let me talk about the anomaly detection first. So anomaly detection is something which is basically used to find the anomalies from our data. Now, what do we mean by anomalies? Let me just explain that with a very simple term. So anomaly means oddity in the data. So let's say your data is following some pattern, and if there is a sudden change in your data at any point, that is going to be detected as the anomaly. So this is the very simple term that we mean by anomaly. So basically, in Power BI, anomaly detection is something which is helping you to enhance the line charts by automatically detecting anomalies in your time series data. Now, this anomaly detection is something which has been announced in Ignite 2020 this year, and in last month we have that feature available as a preview at this moment. And one important thing is that this anomaly detection is only applicable on time series data. So if you do not have time series data, then this concept will not be work for you. So this is the one prerequisite that we need to consider in our mind. Now, what anomaly detection will do is it will find the oddity from our regular pattern of data, and that will help us to find out the root cause analysis. That like let's say for example, we have sales data throughout the year, and now there is a sudden profit high or sudden profit is less, that we just wanted to identify those points, and it will provide us that why that particular sudden change is going to be happen, which are the factor that are going to be affected. So this is the all possible explanation it will provide, and it is something which is very simple, and just using some of the clicks we can perform the anomaly detection for our data. So here on the right hand side of my slide, I just represented this particular graph where we have this type of line graph, and you can see that the graph is following some pattern and there are sudden changes to my data, and it has detected that as an anomaly, that why that inconsistency is there, and based on that it will provide you some natural language suggestion here and all the possible explanation that why that anomaly has detected, it is going to provide here with its possible strength. And anomaly detection is something which is very helpful. This is a very cool AI feature that we can definitely leverage for our reports. So now let me move over to my actual report, and then I'm going to explain you the things how can we define the anomalies for our data and perform this anomaly detection for our line chart. So let me talk about that thing in detail. So let me just open up one of my report. So let me just show you the data source first. So basically I just prepared one sample data source for order. So basically we have the sales information available here, like every day, as this is the time series data. So basically I took the data for around 4 to 5 years over here, and here we have profit information, how many orders that has been performed, as well as its state information, and which is the product and region or segment. All the information is available here in my data. Now let me show you that what the end outcome that we are going to perform here. So first of all, let me just remove the anomaly detection that I already performed here, and let me show you. So basically, let me just select this graph. All right. Okay, so this is one graph that I have prepared at this moment. So let me just take up the new page, and let me just draw one simple line chart here. So basically I just wanted to represent my order date and with respect to its profit. So I'm just removing this hierarchy from here, and I'm just taking profit by each individual date here. So the graph will be looking like this. So this is the regular line chart. Now, as you can see that at this moment, intentionally, I have taken this database to just define the anomalies. And you can perform that on any of the data source that you have, and that will give you the actual outcome. But just for our understanding purpose, I have taken a database which has the more anomalies in the data. So let's say, for an example, here you can see that the regular pattern of graph is like this. But at some point, let's say we consider this point on October 3, 2016, the profit has suddenly increased. So this is the sudden change in our data. Basically what happened here is, here we can see that a profit amount that is less some of the time. And let's consider this point. There is a sudden fall in the profit. So these are some data points which occurred where some anomalies has been detected, some oddity has been detected. Now let's say at this moment I prepared this line chart, and I can see, because I have that type of data already, and I know that what are the points that has the possibility of anomaly. But in case, let's say if you have a very large data set and you wanted to find out the difference, you want to find the sudden change from your data, then how can you do that? So for that, this anomaly detection will very helpful to us. So to find out the anomalies from the data, we just need to go to the analytics section from here, and here we have an option, find anomalies. Now one more thing we need to consider here, like let's say for an example, when you select your line chart, and if you are not able to see this option, there are two possibilities. One thing is that you haven't enabled your preview feature, or second thing is that you did not use the time series data, so your chart doesn't has the axis information. At that time you will not be able to see this find anomalies option. Second important thing that we need to consider here is, we already have some forecast option for our graph. Now if you are going to use find anomalies for your graph, then you need to compromise with forecast option, because at this moment what happened here is we can't use forecast and anomalies both together into single visualization. So hopefully in future we will be having that capability to use the both the things together, but at this moment we can either use forecast or either can use anomalies. So make sure about this thing. Now we just need to expand this find anomalies, and we would be having add option over here. So let's just click on add. So basically once we click on add, you can see that it enables some of the option for us. So first option is the sensitivity option, second is explain by, then anomaly shape, shape size, anomaly color, expected range style, and expected range color. So these are the different options that are available. Now let me talk about each individual option in detail in order to prepare our chart in a better manner. Now the first option here is sensitivity. So what do we mean by sensitivity? So let's say at this moment we have 70% by default added as a sensitivity, meaning my anomaly algorithm is 70% more accurate. So it will find 70% more accurate result over here. So what happen here is, even if there is a small change or small deviation in the data, it will detect as anomaly. Let's say for an example here, it has detected so many data points as an anomaly point, but as you can see that this particular specific portion, maybe there is a possibility that there is a minor change, but still it is detecting as an anomaly because we have set higher sensitivity over here. Now I do not want to make any small change. I do not want to detect any minor pieces from my data. I wanted to have sudden or drastic change in my data. So let me just decrease the sensitivity around 30%. So you can see that the data points has been decreased. Now it is only showing the point which has sudden or unexpected change from my data. So we just need to play with the sensitivity column here. Now let's say for an example, I'm just clicking any of the point from here. Let me just click on that particular anomaly point of October 2, 2016. Now here it will give you the natural language expression that profit was unexpectedly high on October 2, 2016. It had a value 8,732.38, which is above the expected range, vary from minus 663.33 to 859.65. So this is the expected range, but it has the sudden change like this. So that's why it has detected as anomaly. Now, which are the factor that made that particular rate high? Now it is giving that explanation to us here. So let's say here it is saying that region is central, that is the possibility of 51%. Now let's expand that and it will show us the graph that profit for region central was unusually high, which may have lifted the profit total. So due to this particular thing, this unexpected change has been occurred in the data. Now let's say if we want to just provide the explanation to the end user to why this particular thing has happened. So we just need to click on add to report, and this will add this particular graph to our data. So basically this will compare profit, regular profit versus profit for central. So that is how we can identify. Right now let me just remove this and let's check the other possible explanation as well. So it has detected the explanation based on all the major column from our data set. So it has detected based on region, segment, shape mode, subcategory, category, state and city, and based on that it is also showing its strength as well. These are the parameters that are that are considered to higher anomaly over here. Now let's say for an example, I do not want to consider all the columns for an explanation. I just wanted to know that uh, let me just give the reason based on region and segment. So how can we do that? So for that let's select this graph, just go to the anomaly section, and here we have the second option, explain by. So basically explain by is nothing, but we just need to provide the column that for possible explanation, which column do we need to consider? Do we need to consider all the columns, or do we need to consider only specific column that we need to provide? So let me just provide here. Let's say I just wanted to find out the explanation based on region, and let's say I need another column as segment. And now let me just click on apply. So what it will do is it will only find the results based on this particular two fields, that why the expected outcome is high or low. So this is how the second property will be looking like, that is explained by. Now third thing is that anomaly shape. So this is just a UI property. You can change the anomaly shape over here, and you can simply change its color as well using this option. Now let me talk about expected range style. Now this is very important property, but before we do that, let me just provide the scroll for my axis over here. So I'm just going um, zoom slider. I'm just enabling this zoom slider for my visualization. So I can zoom in my axis so that we can understand the next feature properly. So this zoom slider is also something which is also available recently in the last month update we have rolled out. So now we can zoom in our axis as well. So this is one additional thing that we need to consider. Now let me just zoom this a little bit so I can zoom some specific data point to you and we can explore the property more in detail. Now let's say I'm just going to analytics section again, and now here we have an option that expected range style. So let's say for an example, at this particular point we have detected anomalies, but I just wanted to know that what was the expected range and what we are exactly getting here. So this is something which we can get easily with this option. So let me just change the expected range style as a line, and it will draw this type of line just for our actual graph. So you can see that at this point the anomaly has detected, but what is the expected range that is to be represented by this gray line. So let me just change the color of this one so we will be getting better idea. So let me just make its color as this dark line. Let me just increase the transparency. And now here you can see that this is our actual line and these are the expected range line. So let's say if the anomaly is detected over this point, then what is the expected range that we can find? So here we can have our tooltip as well, that what is the expected minimum value and maximum value, and what the actual value that do we have at specific point. So these are the overall property of this particular find anomalies option. I think I covered all the properties in detail over here. Now let me just talk one more thing, last thing over here, that at this moment let me just remove up this possible explanation so we can just check the all explanation. Let me just remove this thing from here and let's click apply. So now it is showing me all the possible explanation. And we also discussed that we can add anything to over here as well in a form of a graph. Now let's say this is the desktop view where we are demonstrating this anomaly detection at this moment, but what about the mobile view? Like, does this feature support for mobile view? So at this moment this is in preview. So for mobile view the anomaly detection feature is something which is not available. So hopefully in future we will be having that option available very soon, and we will be able to find out the anomalies from the mobile devices as well. So this is the overall idea about the anomaly detection. So I think almost we reached to end of this particular session, and we covered almost everything here. Like from starting to beginning, we started with the teams thing first, and then we moved to the smart narrative, and at last we covered up this anomaly detection. So if you have any question related any of this topic, feel free to unmute yourself, and I will be happy to answer your question.
Guys, anyone has doubt or clarification about anything about what Dhruvan shared, please unmute and ask the question directly.
Hi, Drupin. I have one question here.
Yeah, sure.
It's like because for me it's like a completely new topic. It's really nice, and I just want to know that what's the accuracy of this data and charts, like, and how much data will be required for doing the correct prediction for the anomaly detection.
Okay, so basically the accuracy is totally, I can say that it is in preview at this moment. So as I have analyzed I just used this feature for a few of my clients. So I found that we are getting around 95 to 98% of accuracy over here. And let's say specifically for anomaly detection, it is something that it would be great if we have around 1000 plus records. to have that graph to be properly visualized. Otherwise, even with a lower data as well, that will work, but we cannot easily find out like how that is going to be look like, or how the anomalies, which are the anomaly pattern. So there is no such description provided anywhere, but I personally recommend that if we have around 1000 plus records, then this feature is really working cool over here. And specifically for accuracy level, actually this is the algorithm based anomaly detection, and we actually don't know that behind the scene which type of exact algorithm is going to be defined, but here we have the configuration property available that I've defined, that sensitivity. So based on our requirement that how accurately we want to identify the anomalies, like we wanted to detect only certain points, then we can decrease the sensitivity, or if we want any minor change to be detected, we can increase the sensitivity. So that is one option for accurate anomaly detection over here that is to be provided.
Okay. Thanks a lot. Yeah, actually, yeah, it's good.
Dhruven, these sample data sets, right? Will you sharing with the community? I mean, like how we can get these data sets?
Okay, so actually I downloaded for one of the ML database over here. So I will provide the link of my GitHub repository as well, which dataset I am using that. So you will be able to see that. But yes, for this particular specific thing, I specifically downloaded an anomaly detection database so that I can represent thing properly. Because what happened here is in our actual real data, like specifically there are no such minor changes, but just to represent that how this entire thing is working, I just used a specific data source over here. But our normal data set as well, we will be able to find the data set anomalies, but we have very specific point, because mostly our specifically the data set that I am working with, which doesn't has any major sudden change, and that's the reason why I use this ML data set and just tried and explored this particular feature. But sure, I'll provide the GitHub repository link, and that's in my mind, and I will be sharing that link so you can directly download it from there as well. So let me just quickly open if I have that handy. Just a minute.
So Dhruven, these are in Power BI. We have some visuals like the KIV, key value, and then a lot of visuals. We have AI visual. So this anomaly is a visual, or we have just used a graph to make it working?
No.
Is it AI visual?
No, it's not a visual. It's a feature that has been added to the line chart. So let's say,
okay.
Yeah. So Aro, if you know about like how we can do forecasting for our data, so we just go to the analytics section for any of our line chart, and we have the similar forecast option if you want to represent maximum constraint line, trend line. So this type of one additional feature has been added here for specifically for time series data to find the anomalies. So it's not a separate visual. It is something that is the enhancement in the already have the visualization over here.
Got you. I thought like it's a new visual which they have released in the PI in the Power BI visual preview. Okay, got you. So we have to enable the preview features and then it will work, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. Yeah. Thank you.
Thanks, Rubin. It was really nice session. Yeah.
Thank you so much. And at last, let me just share. So this is the link of my all social media handles that I already shared at beginning, and this is the QR code. If you want to review this particular session, just scan this link and just provide your valuable feedback over there. And I think I'm good to end this session.
Yeah.
We share my.
Thank you. Aziz, you have any question for Dhruven? And you can unmute Aziz.
Oh, sorry. No. My question is not to Dhruven. I was not able to get the QR code. So can you?
Okay.
Yeah, Dhruvan, can you help to
Sure.
put the QR code, please?
Sure.
One more thing, when we can get this recorded version and the files?
Yeah, the recorded version will be there soon. We will uploading, maybe by this week. So it will be available on our YouTube channel. Let me share our YouTube channel.
On YouTube channel, I know once, but will you be sending us any email to tell, okay, this is
Yeah,
loaded?
we will send that.
Thanks, Asif, a lot.
Yeah, thank you.
Thanks, Saro.